Hi loves, it's Carrie from ApotheCarrie Tarot. If this is your first time here, welcome, and if not, welcome back. This is going to be our collective full moon reading for tonight, which is February 27th until next month. And I think the next full moon is on March 28th. We're in a full moon in Virgo, so we may feel that kind of spring cleaning vibe. Sorry if I'm squinting, it's like we haven't had sun here in a long time, so I finally have sun and I'm like, my eyes are not adjusted. Also, I'm home alone, and I have to say how exciting that is. My partner now works from home as well, so usually it's like he, my son, and myself just here all the time, like 24/7. So I had a few hours to myself today, and I felt like Kevin in Home Alone. Like I felt like I had to like run around the house and eat all the leftover Halloween candy and just be a rebel. I didn't know what to do with myself, actually. It's like, you know, you have 2 or 3 hours and it's like, what am I going to do with all this time by myself? So yeah. My family may come home at any time during this reading, so if they do, my sweet dog Gertie will go crazy and I will pause this and deal with that. So I'm using the Crow Tarot again. I've had this deck for about a month and a half now, so it's fairly new to me, so bear with me if I have to pause if one of the cards doesn't immediately present itself the way I'm used to seeing it. It's a beautiful deck and I really love it. It's just I'm still kind of getting used to the imagery. Some of the decks I turn it over and I immediately know which card it is. So, but it really wanted to work with us this full moon. So let's see what we've got coming up. So the first card is going to represent us at the current time. The Star reversed. Okay. So the Star is a major arcana card. I'll show you upright just so you can see the comparison. And, you know, it's funny, this card shows up for me a lot either in reverse positions or in letting go of positions. And I think it has a lot to, upright, the Star has a lot to do with hope and like, you know, holding on to hope, you know, making wishes. I'm going to close these just a hair. There, that's better. It has to do with, not so good. I don't know. So it's a card of hope. It's a card of optimism. And if it's reversed or letting go of, sometimes it can have to do with us holding on for hope, us holding on to hope for something that we really want to be different, that it's just not going to happen right now. Now that can be relationships, friendships, work situations, home situations. It can be any realm of things, but it's going to feel big because it is a major arcana card. So in my experience, you know, it does tend to be where we're really wishing something could be different and we're putting a lot of energy into that. And Gertie agrees. And so sometimes taking stock of like what we're putting a lot of energy into, hoping, and just making sure that we're being reasonable. The other place that can come in is when we're hoping and wishing for something to be different, but we're not taking action. So, you know, there's something we really want for ourselves or for our family or for someone we care about. And that's all we're doing is wishing and hoping. And so in that case, we really want to think about, okay, what action steps can I take? Like, I want this thing to happen, but what needs to happen, or what do I need to do to get there? So that's what that one usually says to me in that position. Next is going to be a card of challenges or blockages. Oh my goodness, all majors today. It's going to be a big moon phase. We've got the Sun. And once again, it's actually funny because those, I would say, out of the tarot, they're probably the two most iconic positive cards of the tarot, and they're both kind of showed up in sort of reverse positions. My goodness, I don't know how to best balance this light. I'm not used to dealing with sun. I usually, if anything, have to put my light up because it's too dark. I don't know if that's annoying, half in, half out. So the Sun is about vitality, again, optimism, radiance, a lot of energy, feeling, you know, like renewed. Because it's in a blockage position, I think it speaks well to what I was saying about the Star card, kind of holding on to hope or like putting a lot of energy into something in the wrong way, maybe like hoping, wishing, wanting it to be different, but not taking action steps will definitely deplete our energy and our sense of vitality. I'm sorry, I just do not know. I don't want to start again, but I also don't know how to best work with this light. We're going to do that for now and see what happens. So sorry. So yeah, it has to do with draining our kind of vitality that we could bring to other avenues of our life because we're focusing on that one thing that we really want to happen. So yeah, taking action steps, and also asking ourselves honestly and deeply whether what we're hoping for is something that's reasonable. Next card is something to let go of this full moon phase. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is pretty, it's cool, and it's also telling me that this is going to be a really spicy moon phase. We've got the death card upright, and it's kind of cool because it's in the letting go of position, and it's literally the card of the tarot for letting go. So out of 6 cards, so far 50% of them have been major arcana cards, and that's pretty big. So all of this speaks to letting go of something that we know we have to release. Like it's something that clearly we have been wishing for, hoping to be different. It's draining our energy. We're exhausted from overthinking about it. We just have to let it go. This could be any number of things. It could be a relationship or a friendship that's just not, it's not worth resuscitating again. It could be a way that we're living that we know is harmful to ourselves, and we're just not willing to take the steps to get out of that. It could be it's probably something big. I don't want to elaborate too much because I'm sure that you will know what this is. With these 3 cards all in a row, there's no doubt in my mind that you will hear this and go, oh, yeah, I know what that is. And it'll be different for all of us. But remembering that in order for like rich new growth and opportunity to happen, we have to let the decay happen. We have to release that which is no longer serving us so that it can go back into the earth. It can nourish what's going to come next. But if we keep trying to cling to that, if we keep trying to really hold on because we don't want to say goodbye, we don't want to let go, it's just going to, it'll still decay, but it'll you know, maybe create a fungus or a like it'll do something more harmful to us than it would if we just kind of gracefully let it go. Doesn't mean it's easy. It is necessary though. Okay, so the star reversed is where we find ourselves right now. The next card is going to represent sort of the energy around us at the current time. And we've got 10 of Wands. So 10 of Wands is a card of like really hard work. And, you know, traditionally this card is known as the card of burden and the card of you know, having too many things on our plate. And it can be that, but it's also, because it's in the Wands, they are the fire element, and they have to do with our will, our ego, our passions, the things that we love doing, the things we care about. It could be social justice. It could be a cause that you really care about, that you're trying to create something to make social change. And it's also a reminder that just because you love what you're doing doesn't mean it's not work. So you can take anything you love doing, and as soon as you are trying to make it into something that carries you financially or something that takes up a lot of your time, it's going to feel like work, no matter how much you love the process. And that's okay. I think that when we stop working on things, whether it's a relationship, something we're trying to build creatively, if we get complacent, we're not actually doing it any justice. So I think it's a reminder that you know, we feel like this is worth it, so we're going to put our energy into it. We're going to put our passion into it. We're going to continue to do the work. It can also be a card that reminds us it's okay to allocate or delegate, sorry. It's okay to, you know, if we've put a lot of work into all the administrative things and now we have time to work on the creative project, sometimes we have trouble letting go of those little tasks that we did in the beginning. It can kind of feel like, but I did this, you know, and you want to hold on to all of them. And most of the imagery in the 10 of Wands will show that, someone holding a bundle on their back in front of them. And so you might be entering a period where it's like, okay, I don't love doing the bookkeeping, so I think I have the resources to hire someone to do the bookkeeping, or to bring on a student to do an internship or something like that. So, you know, knowing that no matter how much you love it, it's still work, and that's a good thing. And also knowing when to release some of your responsibilities so that it's not taking away from what you actually wanted to do when you started this whole thing. All right, so the next card is going to be incoming energies. Things kind of moving into our realm. Oh my goodness, okay. Seriously, we're gonna have to like buckle up for this moon phase. Not in a bad way, but you know, these are big cards. Like now we're at 5 out of 6 cards are major arcana. Got the Devil reversed, and that's kind of interesting to me because I'll show you upright. I love this version. sorry, my computer's timing out. The devil traditionally has to do with, it's been associated with addiction, lower vibrational behaviors like, gossiping, kind of being catty or being unkind, feeling enslaved or ensnared to something. And it can be that, but almost always the imagery shows that there's a way out of it. It's kind of a mind game where we feel like we're stuck in a situation that we're not. Because it's reversed, yeah, I'm gonna go with, so the other side to the devil card that I've always really embraced is that it will sometimes come up when we are not being hedonistic enough. And, that's not a common thing. I know that there's probably other readers that would agree, but it's not something you see often in the traditional adaptations, is that, sometimes it reminds us that we are animals. Like, we do have this animalistic nature, we have needs, we have things that come up, and the more we squish them down and function in society the way we expect to, the more shadows we create, the more dissonance we create in ourselves. So I would say the devil reversed here, especially on the other side of death like this. Like, I think I'm going to take a photo of this to put, if you're a part of the newsletter, I'm going to put this because this is super powerful. So there's a lot of guilt around being a hedonistic. So that's sort of, I've done a lot of work with the devil card. Being raised Roman Catholic, of course, I had to undo some of the associations I had. And it has to do with like guilt around pleasure. So, if you were raised in a way that you were told, like touching yourself is impure or a sin, or if you were taught that certain behaviors were completely not okay, it can be hard to look at what you really want and desire without that kind of feedback happening in your mind. So my kind of bottom line with the devil card in this kind of position is, if there's something that brings you joy, that brings you, what's the word, like pleasure, and it's not hurting anybody else, and it's between consenting partners or whatever it is, be careful that the guilt you're feeling is not coming just from societal input. If there's harm coming to someone, or if what you're doing is harming yourself or someone else, then yes, absolutely look at that, because there is like an underlying theme of lower vibrational behaviors. But if what you're doing and what you long for is not hurting anybody, and everybody agrees that they want to do the same thing, whether that's even yourself, like even making peace with yourself in different ways that you can, enjoy pleasure on your own, like singularly, like, sometimes we have to undo a lot of guilt and a lot of belief systems that are around that. So pay attention to that, because I think we need that more than ever right now. We're dealing with being in isolation. We're dealing with being cut off from the people we love most. A lot of us don't have human contact the way we're used to, especially people living on their own have no human contact. So if you can bring pleasure to your body, however that looks for you, if the guilt is taking away from the benefit that could come from that, then just maybe assess that, look at that, like, should I be feeling guilty, or is this something that's just kind of that I've brought along with me from a long time ago? Sorry, I could go on forever about that. I love the devil card, and I have a lot of thoughts about it, as you can tell. Final card will be our meditation card, something to keep close to our chest for the next month till the next full moon, to help guide us. And we've got the Eight of Cups. Yeah, this is going to be a spicy month. So cups are a water element. They're our emotional realm. They are our feelings, our relationships, love, nostalgia. And the Eight of Cups speaks very much to everything we saw in the beginning, letting go of something, even though you've put a lot of emotional work into it. So that can be one of the hardest things to do. The example that often comes to mind for me is when you're in a relationship that's good, but it's not great. You've spent many, many years together. You've experienced a lot. You've put a lot of your emotional effort into it, but something inside of you knows you have to walk away. It's taking that courageous step and stepping away. Anytime we see a crescent moon, like we do in this one, it's a reminder that we know our inner knowing is telling us. And sometimes we have trouble hearing our inner knowing because we have so much brain chemistry and, all this feedback coming from all these other sources, so that it can be hard to hear that quiet little voice inside of us that knows what we need. But this month, over the next little while, really pay attention to that. Really listen to what you're being told to do from the quieter voices. Um, and it may mean walking away. Sometimes this card comes up with family of origin stuff as well. Like if your family of origin is not safe for you, it's not good for your mental health, it can be really hard to take a step back. But you know, in the long term, you may have to. And, you know, there's no guarantee that what you're moving into is going to be better. But we can never really have that guarantee. We have to sometimes step blindly into new situations, just knowing that they can't be, you know, they're going to be different. Whether or not they're better or worse, we don't know, but we do know that we need to change and we need to reorient ourselves. So, my goodness, that was, that might be the spiciest full moon reading I've done. I've been doing it since the end of 2018, I think, fall 2018. That's the biggest one. I love this deck. This deck does not mess around. It fully lets you know what's up. If you have any questions about that, or if you have any reflections or things that you think that you get a different vibe from these cards, please share. I love to hear what other people get from them. And just be really kind to yourself this month. I mean, it's the month where our logic is going to kick in a bit more because Virgos are very like organized, and that may actually make it harder to move through these cards. It may make it a little bit more challenging to listen to our inner knowing, to give in to desire, those kind of things. So be kind to yourself, listen to yourself, don't overextend yourself, and I will stop saying yourself. But I hope you have a wonderful and abundant month. I hope it's as comfortable as possible, and I look forward to connecting with you for the next full moon. So bye for now. We'll talk to you soon.